A-levels. So just a brief intro. The minimum requirement to do A-level maths as set by the Ministry of Education Brunei is Mathematics D in O-levels with a C6 minimum. So basically, anyone who has obtained a credit 6 in D maths can do A-level maths. That is their minimum requirements. So after years of teaching, we found that that is quite an impossible task for these students to score with just that grade alone. Alright? So we have come up with a small investigative project to analyze the results that we have got, to check if there's any significant correlation, or in other words, if there's any relationship between having additional maths background with that of the A-level grades. Okay? So, introduction. So this project is an investigation to compare our students' actual A-level examination performance with their O-level knowledge background. And it is also an investigation to find out if there's any correlation between certain factors. So certain factors, in this case, we're looking at those students with additional maths and their A-level grades, and those without additional maths, so meaning to say we're looking at their D maths grades with the A-level grades. So the rationale between doing this is, as I've mentioned just now, MOE low prerequisite for doing A-level maths, which is a C6 in D maths. Another reason why is that when we have our consultation day, I'm sure most teachers have come across this every year, the students' empty promise to work hard. They will look very, very convincing during consultation day and registration day, trying to persuade you to allow them to do your subject, even though they don't meet the requirements or they have just sufficient requirements to do that subject. Another reason why is that students' perception that they need to have A-level maths to go further in their studies, which was the case years and years ago. Most of the courses in universities will require you to have A-level maths as one of the minimum. Another reason, they have no subject choices. I'm sure if you are in the frontline team during registration day, you will hear this excuse most of the time. Another reason is that they're able to cope and perform during last minute preparation. So they can do nothing for the first 1.5 years, and then they think they can score by revising in the last half or the last 6 months. Right? Alright, so the methodology. So the data that we used are the 2014-2015 results. I think it's Vernon's batch. 2015-2016. And the current upper 6 end of year results. So the first 2 years will be the A-level grades, and the final year, 2016-2017, will be the current upper 6. So we don't have the data yet. So we've used their end of year examination results. We can't use the progress test because although we have 4 teachers teaching the upper 6, but my class, we're doing different papers. And the other 3 blocks, the other 3 tutors are doing different papers. So we can't use that as a guideline to analyze the results. The software that we use to analyze the results, SPSS, which is a statistical software package. For those who have done masters, you know this software. And then to find correlation between the following. So O-level Maths D and overall A-level grades. O-level D Maths and paper components. O-level additional Maths and overall A-level grades. O-level additional Maths and paper components. So paper components we have 4, which is paper 1, paper 3, which are the pure papers. And then we have 4 and 6. So 4 is mechanics, 6 is statistics. Alright, analysis and findings. So, I'm pretty sure that everyone understands that for each subject, you have your own specialty. For example, geography, history will be more of a language base, right? And then art will be more also graphical. So for maths, it will be numbers. So just bear with me, you'll see a lot of numbers. Okay, so probably it will make no sense, but I'll try to explain it as clearly as possible what those numbers mean. Alright, so for 2014 and 2015 batch, the analysis and findings. So number of students with additional maths, we have 70. And shockingly, without additional maths, we have 46 of them. So which is almost half of what we have with those having additional maths. So without additional maths, about 9% scored A to C. Whereas with those with additional maths, it's about 40%, A to C. And A to E, without additional maths, is 37, out of total of 116, which is about 32%. And then about 59% scored A to E for those who have additional maths. And then U, without A maths, is 9 students, with A maths only 1. Okay, so you can almost see that those with additional maths have a bigger advantage compared to those without additional maths. Alright. Students with additional maths. So we use SPSS to analyze the correlation. So if you look at significance, so additional maths and overall A-level grades, you get 0.000, which is 0. If you look at general terms, 0 means it's not good. Alright? But for significance, in terms of significance, 0.000 is the best you can get. So which means that there is a very, very big relationship between those who have done additional maths and their A-level grades. And this is supported by the correlation, which is 0.533. If you get 1, it's perfect. So 0.533 is sort of halfway in between. So which is quite strong in a sense. And then those without additional maths, only the maths, you get 0.037, which is significant, but not as strong as those with additional maths for this particular year. Okay, so far so good?
Yeah.
Don't make
Okay.
sense.
When we first looked at this, Samaja, when we first did our SPSS, we had the same problem. Alright, so correlation between additional maths and each paper component. Significance, everything is 0. So it means that it's really, really good. And the correlation is between 0.42 to 0.57, so which is somewhere in between, which supports that additional maths really does make it, or having done additional maths really makes a big difference for the students. And number of students who have done additional maths, again, is 70. Correlation between B maths and paper components, so meaning to say those students without additional maths, significant, none of which is significant. If you're comparing to the 0.05 minimum significance level. So it means that anything less than 0.05 is good, anything more than that is not significant at all. And the correlation is quite low as well, 0.2. Okay, so it means that D maths alone does not really help. You need to have additional background knowledge. So in this case, it's the additional maths.
You're using 95% confidence interval,
Yeah,
is it?
95%. So for 2015-2016 batch, which is last year's batch, even more shocking. With additional maths, we have 76. Without additional maths, we have only 15, compared to our 46. So meaning to say, during my batch, we had 46, without additional maths. and it is cut down to 1/3 the next year. And difference, we'll see. Without additional maths, A to C, 4%. With additional maths, we had about 52%. A to E, 14% without additional maths. With additional maths, 80%. So which is really, really good. Alright, if you're trying to achieve the 100% target. U is more or less similar. 2 for those with additional maths and 3 with additional maths.
Shouldn't you say with additional maths? That means they got 1 to 8, is it? They always
1
use
to
credits.
8, yes. As long as they have done additional maths.
Right.
Yeah.
So even if they fail.
Yeah. But they have the minimum knowledge already. Okay, so what about significance? With additional maths, again it's 0. And the correlation is even higher in this case, 0.654. And those without additional maths is not significant at all. And the correlation is 0.5. So it shows that there is not much of a difference whether you score well for DMATs or not. As long as you've done DMATs, that is, the chances of you getting good grades is almost like 50-50. Okay? So correlation, significance, almost perfect for all paper components. So paper 4, correlation is 0.386, so probably there are a few factors which affected this, such as language, because maths, sometimes English plays an important part. If you don't understand the story of the question, then you can't answer the question. DMATs, no correlation errors. Paper 1, probably they can do better, but the other papers is not that good. Okay, so paper 1 is the pure maths, the basics. So for the current upper 6, with additional maths we have 78, without additional maths we have 13. For the end of year examination, A to C, 3% for those without additional maths, 55% for those with additional maths. A to E, about 8% without additional maths, 75% with additional maths. And then number of those who fail, about 7% for those without additional maths, and surprisingly 11% for those with additional maths. So reason why? One, we assume that they're still in their honeymoon period, so everything is still going slowly. So they're taking their sweet time, not really serious at all in their work just yet. Okay, that's probably the main reason why, we think. And then, so significance with additional maths, again we have 0, and quite a very high correlation, which is 0.8. Now, so far you have seen everything is positive in the values, either positive or 0. But if you look at this case, the current upper 6, students without additional maths, or those who have only D maths. Significance, definitely no significance at all. Okay? But if you look at the correlation, it is negative correlation. Value is not strong at all, it's almost 0. But the negative sense here means that even students without additional maths can do well in A-level maths, but it's just a small fraction of those students. Okay, so reason why, probably they put in more effort, they ask questions, and they strive to achieve better results compared to the previous years.
Or maybe there's better teaching as well.
Probably. So there will be a lot of different factors that can affect this positive, negative thing. Okay? So enough of numbers, let's go back to words. Conclusion. A-level maths, additional maths definitely has a major impact towards better academic achievements in A-level maths. I'm sure we can agree on that, based on the analysis. Having only D-maths background is insufficient without any hard work, effort, and determination to strive for the best. Agree? I assume. Expectations. So what do we expect from doing this project? Hopefully the findings will provide Pusat or other sixth form institutions with the initiative and also concrete evidence to come up with a better guideline for prerequisite requirements. To show to parents or future students during consultation day that A-level maths is not for everyone. If they are not prepared to work extra hard and only make empty promises. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Sherman and Kim. So now I would like to open the floor to any questions.
Sherman, the school level results, was it based on our passing marks, which is 45, or did you guys use 40% as the passing mark?
It's based on 45%. Our school internal passing mark. It won't make much of a difference because I have students who scored single digits, so it doesn't really change much.
Any other questions for the floor?
Is that on purpose?
Yes, to see if everyone's really paying attention. Attention.
So are you recommending that the prerequisite for doing A-level maths is to have additional maths, whether they fail or get a credit? It doesn't matter as long as they've done additional maths.
Preferably the minimum would be at least they have done additional maths, regardless if they've passed or not. But better if they have actually scored better grades for their O-level additional maths. Because we know that even D-maths for Brunei standard, the passing mark every year is getting lower and lower and lower. Even for this year's intake, I think the minimum marks you have to score for a C6 is about 30-ish%, which is basically a U in that sense.
It's a very interesting study, and I think you have very strong evidence here. But it will also be interesting to find out from the science department, right, whether your credit in the sciences, physics, chem, and biology, whether that leads to 100% A-level passes in those subjects, the requirements.
Yeah, but we have the same problem with maths. That if you look at their pass in a C,
yeah,
It's a C.
it's usually just basically quick through U. They're coming in very, very low pass rates. Those are C6.
So that means even having a credit in the sciences does not guarantee that they will pass, right?
Yeah.
Yes, to be Sherman, can you go back to your slide, Yang, the result of the L6 students? Yang, the 11% L6 with MS as well. Yeah, just now you said it's surprisingly with MS almost 11% yang cannot get credit. These students, dia punya MS itu the grade is just passing or just pass or even fail, the 11%. You have the data for that? Yeah. Just wondering.
I think we have the data, but not in this computer. Okay, I think other young students yang fail, they actually scored like C5 or D4 additional maths. One reason is from my class is carelessness. The minute they messed up the first step, that's it. That's the end. In my case, I'm not sure about the other tutors though.
There's also a component where having additional maths helps them to do better for paper 4, right? The correlation was quite high.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for which year.
This is with additional maths.
With additional maths.
Because we use the school result, because we good 45 mark of passing. That's why they say
Just want to
the number shouldn't be so high.
This is the only one with 0.4.
11% is it?
Just now was last year, right?
Yeah, we
It was something with 0.6 or 0.7.
a lot better if it's not 45%.
0.6 is a bigger one. Yeah.
That's why I want to point out
The current batch.
With MS.
the student get in
Not critical, so
And if actually we have very extreme problem, do we that way then?
I think the science department can try.
Yeah. Can you flick back a few to the one where you've got the papers 1, 2, 3, 4?
Which year was that?
Oh, it's not that far back. That'll do.
Okay.
Because it's presumably all students do all 4 papers.
Yes. The previous years.
Paper 4 is mechanics,
Mechanics.
and that's your trickiest paper, would you say? Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
But it seems to be the one that's doing the least well.
Yeah.
Is it worth sending your analysis and your findings to Cambridge and say this is because it clashes with biology? That's the paper that clashes, isn't it?
I think in the previous years we had mechanics that clashed with biology. We had the pure paper that clashed. We even had statistics. I think even this year we have clashes.
So it's always this mechanics paper.
Yeah. It's either the AS paper for biology that clashes with the A2 maths or the other way around.
I think you should send it to Cambridge.
Would it help?
No.
Alright, let me end this session with one question for me. Because since you mentioned that, right, hopefully with this research that you could prove to the students or the parents that, having additional mathematics is really quite important, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So the thing is here, parents and students still insist on taking that. So your department, what's your next year approach to that?
We'll try to push them to other subjects first. That is our main goal. Favorite subjects that we'd like to push them to would be
economics.
Because they did mention as long as the students are human, they will be glad to accept them. And probably, I think the humanities, I think we have lack of numbers for those subjects, like art. I think this year we had quite a minimum for accounting. Yeah, we'll try to push them towards that direction first.
Yeah, but we do want students to take our subject that have maths, right? We said that no maths, no economics. Okay, so thank you, Sherman.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
MIB is using their own.